Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, we got a Milwaukee actual Sawzall, and this is one of those things picked up free in a box. Plugged it in, the trigger didn't work, and I kind of got in the middle of this, and I decided I was going to go ahead and do a video because I actually got it working. So, in case you're having the same thing, and all of a sudden you just have one of these things that quit working on you, or something like that, I just want to show you that these old Sawzalls anyway are fairly made to be worked on here. And what I did is I got in here, and if you peel this little rubber thing off here, see if you guys can see this. Yep, off the top of here, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Make sure it's not plugged in, obviously. If you hear air blowing in the background, I have a fan on. It's like 100 degrees today. It's pretty dang hot. And I noticed these wires were kind of sticking out a little ways. And if you go in here, you'll see a little black dot right here. Take a little screwdriver, and on both sides, pry that loose. Alright, I'm just going to take, so after we finish picking up things, and pry this loose. It's not super easy, but it's not real hard either. I kind of wished I got impatient and I started doing this just messing around one day, and then I actually got it to work, and it was real simple to get it to work. So now, pop goes the weasel there, your little trigger goes. Make sure you pay attention to what direction it goes. I do think it only goes in one way. And if you can kind of pry this plastic piece up onto the wires, it's kind of a real pain in the butt. But you'll notice the wires actually, you may not be able to see this in the video. I apologize for not having great equipment for that. These little, where it comes down and over to these pieces of metal right here, there's just little soldered ends of wire pushed down in there, and one of my wires was just popped out of one of those. I don't even remember which one it was, but basically I just took it, and I think it was this one here, which it seems to be popped out again. So it's one of those things where probably shouldn't have messed with it. But I'm going to peel this back, and I'm actually going to take and get these wires, because right now you can kind of see them sticking up through this plastic piece here, and I think they're supposed to be under this. So I'm going to tear this apart, and we're just going to go ahead and rewire it in, which I actually want to replace the cord. It's kind of why I didn't put it back together and thought maybe I'd do a video. But what I did, in fact, that one's not even supposed to be there. What I did is I pulled this off here, and I was pretty sure the switch wasn't any good. So what I wound up doing was tracing this white one up to here, and I put the white cord on there, and then I started playing around trying to find where the black one should go, and admittedly there was sparks going everywhere every time I touched one of these, on no matter where it was. And so then I kind of got to looking at it, and what I found was coming off the switch here was a smaller black one going, let's see here, I want to see if you can see this. I'm going to back out a little way so you can see this a little bit. Alright, so what I found was a smaller black one leading up into this red thing right here, going into these. And what I did is I actually just undid that, because it was the only black ones going in here, and I tried on this switch. I don't even know exactly what the switch is, if it's a speed control or what, but I tried touching to these, and that didn't work. That didn't do anything. It didn't make nothing go. So what I ended up doing is actually taking this one here, and it was actually together. There was no break in it here, and I snipped that, thinking I was going to just replace this switch anyway. And I touched the wires to that, and boom, it started running. I had the white one touched to the white one going into the motor, and then the the black one going to this one. This is where I say, if you do anything I do and you hurt yourself, I'm not responsible. If you don't like the way I'm doing it, don't do it, because this could get very dangerous with wires hanging everywhere and you're touching things together. So, needless to say, I had this one going directly to the white one here. I had this black one going to this black one here, and things started running. Okay, so then I figured, okay, I need to replace the switch. So I started kind of digging the switch apart just to play around with it, and I realized right here that this black one was just kind of stuck out like this. I don't know if you can see that, but it was just kind of sticking like this. And I was like, okay, well, the rest of them are shoved down in these holes, and I shoved it down in there just like that, and things in the switch started working once I put everything back together. So if you're having a problem like this and you pull the switch and nothing happens, there's a good chance that inside this switch here, it's very easy to pull out, one of your wires is probably not connecting to these little junctions here. And basically you just got to peel this. The hardest part is getting this thing right here off. In fact, I'm just going to take good video here, and I'm going to put these ones back together. I just found another wire nut and actually wire nutted these together. Probably be a good idea to throw some tape on here, which I will probably do later, but all they had in there was the two blue wire nuts going to these, so I figured when in Rome, I guess. So anyway, so that one came out of here and goes in there. The other black one is on this side going there. Okay, so will this come apart? Okay. Then we got this middle one right here. Actually, in the middle of the switch has a male-female kind of connector looking thing on it too, but I'm not going to mess with that right this second, because I really don't want to pull it too many things apart here, and I'll end up with not having a working switch. So anyhow, before I get too far, I'm just going to try and shove these in here a little better. White ones go to white ones on this side. This one even just fell out, so it's it'll fall apart on you pretty easily, so you got to be careful here. And I just basically want to get these out of here so that I can push them into this plastic piece better. If you really had bad wires, it'd be real easy to probably replace these wires as well. And if you see here, I don't know if you can, there's like a little spring right here that you can kind of push, and that'll pop those out. Now, just the biggest thing is remembering what goes where. In this piece, honestly, I'm a little upset here because this little thing slid out from here. I'm hoping this is where I noticed it last, but it kind of popped out of here when I started pulling things apart. Hoping you can see any of this, because I'm trying to. Oh, see, I just made a whole big mess for myself here. That's what you get for doing videos and getting impatient. Get them to work the first time, and then they don't. There's the inside of this right here. Oh, now I'm dropping things on the floor. Alright, I'm going to quit filming for a little bit until I can kind of put this all back together. So obviously you have to be much more careful than me. I don't know as I pull this completely apart. Although I have one side that's still together pretty well. Hopefully I can figure this out and find out the parts to put that one back together. It was actually very easy. Just these L pieces here. Then I put the two springs in. You can't really see those very good. There's a spring here and a spring here. And I just put it in this side and then pushed it down here with a pair of pliers. Then you want to put, there's like a little tiny spring here, brass spring of some sort, and then you put this in on top, and like pop that in there like that. So that's fairly easy. Problem I am having is I know this goes on the bottom somewhere. I'm not exactly sure how. I think it just kind of sits on the bottom. So hopefully I can get that to set in there correctly. Now the next step is getting, whoa, showing everything. Getting my wires into this plastic piece better. Right there, that brass piece like I was showing you. On that, it's going through kind of a piece of plastic, and on the other side it's actually broke off. So that could be where my problem is. It might be not pushing down hard enough on those, and they might fall out again. But in that case, a new switch. But for now, I got this back together. It was fairly easy, as long as I knew. Luckily, I had the one that didn't fall apart, otherwise I'd be in trouble. Now on the bottom down here, you can't really see it, but there's a black piece going next to the shiny piece. That kind of stuff's in there underneath the copper or brass, whatever that is, piece there. And then this all shoves down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera because I'm having trouble keeping it together as it is. Alright, now I got it all together, and the last time I did this it actually worked. Let's see if it'll work this time. There we go. I got a working Milwaukee Sawzall, the real thing, free in a box. Yeah, it took me a little bit of work, took me a little time. I may have to tear it apart and replace this at some other time if it keeps shutting off on me. Definitely going to replace the cord, so go check out a video on me replacing the cord. Real easy to pull this off. It was a couple screws on this side and then all the screws on the other side, and the whole thing pulls apart. So real easy to pull all this stuff out. Follow. It definitely has a certain direction on where the wires go, and there's also a spot where this goes, and it kind of holds the wire in there. So that's the only other thing you may have to pay attention to, but works just fine. So somebody threw this away because they didn't bother taking, I don't know, it probably took me less than 5 minutes to get this thing back running. So and at the very worst, a switch that would probably cost, I don't know, I'm not even going to fathom what it'll cost because it's probably more than I think, but I'm sure it's a lot less than going out and buying a brand new Sawzall. Anyway, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master of none. You all have a good one.